Guys, just wanted to do a quick update on these two plants. Looks like one has succumbed to the Melbourne winter, and the other one, even though at first it looked all dead, we can see some new growth happening. So let's quickly see which these plants are. The one that has died is the mango Nam Doc Mai. Yep, and this is a grafted variety. However, it's no longer a grafted variety because the graft has died, and I can see the seedling is still alive. There is some green and there's some new shoots coming up, so there is still a hope. But yeah, the graft has died. So yeah, mangoes are, especially the grafted mangoes, are very difficult to grow in Melbourne. So that's the Nam Doc Mai. I just got it last season, but yeah, I had protected it during the winter, but looks like even below 5 degrees, if you have continuous 2-3 nights, it just can't bear it. So you probably will need a heated greenhouse. So this plant is Canistel, and it's a seedling, and we can see a lot of new shoot coming up, and as the weather warms up, it should be doing good for another 4 months. Well, it's all not bad news. So we do have a plant delivery from Dailies, of course. So if one plant dies, we just have to fill that void by buying another plant. So this time around I've got some 4-5 plants. So let's quickly unpack the goodies and see what new tropical plants have arrived today. Usual, amazing job at packing, and all the plants look very healthy. So let's check what these plants are. Go guys, these are all the plants that I have received, and the first plant is Araza Boy. So this is a frost sensitive evergreen plant, produces fruit throughout the year, provides 2 to 4 harvests per year. Wow. So all the tropical residents are super lucky, but of course in Melbourne, if we get even one harvest, that will be a miracle. Yeah, it's a very tiny seedling, might take 5 to 6 years to produce first fruit. So yeah, I've never tried Araza before, so it's going to be exciting and very interesting looking plant. Yep, I believe it is from the Brazil subcontinent. I'm not entirely sure, but yeah, it's from the rainforests of the South America. So the next plant is pretty familiar looking. I'm sure you'll guess this right. This is the Jaboticaba, and what caught my attention was that this was a dwarf variety, meaning it will be compact in size and you can grow it in containers. So a beautiful tree that produces tasty sweet fruit, extremely rare. Fruits in 2 years and perfect for pots. Self-pollination, which is a plus, and of course it is suitable for tropical or subtropical. So this is the Jaboticaba, and the variety is Costada seedling. Dwarf Jaboticaba Costada. Very healthy looking plant. And the next plant is something that I was waited for a long time. This is the White Sapote Chris variety, and it's a grafted plant. So this white sapote grafted plant flies off the shelf so quickly in dailies, so it's very difficult to order one. So I got hold of it, so very happy with it. So the texture of the leaf, it's almost velvety, very soft to touch. So it's a very small plant though. I mean, I guess I paid some $70 for it. For the price, maybe it is worth it, but I certainly feel that it is quite small a plant. So it requires a bit of protection in the early ages, because early days, especially during winter. If it's matured, it can handle cold without any protection or keeping it indoors. So yeah, this is the white sapote Chris variety. So description: this selection from North Queensland, with excellent flavor and texture. Chris bears so heavily that it may require pruning to minimize limb breakages. Wow, that sounds amazing. And one plus is it bears fruit in Melbourne without any issue. So that's a good thing. So there you go, that's the white sapote. And next plant here is the sweet leaf bush, which is a cutting. I've never actually tasted this or had this plant before, but yeah, it's mainly used in the South Asian cuisines. It's a delicacy. So as the name suggests, the leaves are sweet, I believe. Yeah, it says sweet leaf bush has been popular leafy green perennial vegetable in Malaysia for many years. The crop grows rapidly. It requires humid condition but becomes relatively dormant in cooler environments. So it's an evergreen tropical / subtropical plant. The plant in itself, it looks pretty stressed. I don't see any other issue as such, but it should do well in the warmer weathers. So this is an ornamental plant, very attractive looking tropical feel plant, and this is cordyline. Beautiful looking. In the pictures it looked more almost reddish, like this color. So it's a beautiful looking plant. So it gives that tropical vibe. And the next plant is pandan edible. So this is my third attempt. I've killed 2 in the past. It just does not like the cold, guys. So we have to give extra care, especially in the month of I mean, it will do okay till March, April, May. Like starting from June, July, it just goes under so much stress. So within a day or two, it just kicks the bucket. So the one disadvantage in caring for this is it requires moist potting mix. Like it grows next to paddy fields where the soil is always boggy. So if you try to mimic that, it just gets root rot because of the cold temperatures here. So it's a fine balance between ensuring the soil doesn't dry out completely, but at the same time the root rot issue will not be there for the plant itself. So yeah, let's see. It's my last try, pandan. And basically the leaves are used in cooking. You just throw one leaf into your rice, and it flavors the rice so amazingly. It has this strong aroma. So very, very healthy, and it has some health benefits as well. So beautiful looking plant. I wish I can say the same maybe next summer, but yeah, fingers crossed. I want to ensure it gets the right care this time around. even maybe we have to attempt by keeping it indoors where there is heater and there is enough protection. So this is the pandanus edible. It's a cutting. And the next plant is cedar bay cherry. It looks almost like Grumi chama. So nice texture, little shiny to the leaves. Yeah, it looks pretty healthy. So I've never had this one either. It's a seedling. The fruit is very decorative due to its bright orange red color. They are also delicious with sweet soft flesh. The shrubs are very slow growing, so they are perfect for growing in ornamental pots. Subtropical, tropical, it's a self-pollination. Cedar bay cherry. There you go. And the next one is, I'm having full confidence in this. It will do well in our temperate climate because this is a berry. It's a raspberry. The variety is Atherton. It's a cutting. So yeah, one tip while growing raspberry is growing it in a pot, in a larger pot as it grows, so that it doesn't send suckers all over. Otherwise, if you grow it in the ground and you want it to be contained, it becomes very difficult to manage it later on. So yeah, this is the raspberry. And interestingly, when I saw this, I was wondering, did I order 2 banana? Because it looks so similar. But then when I paid attention, I saw this is banana, which is Pacific plantain variety, and this, however, is a ginger. It's Javanese ginger. They both look so similar, so I got a little confused. And the age of the plant also looks pretty same. So Javanese ginger, this species bears a striking similarity to Cape York turmeric. It differs in the flower bracts, and they are deep purple color. Blah blah blah. But yeah, Javanese ginger. So beautiful looking plant. The leaves can be used to wrap your rice or any other vegetables and steam it. So it will be very, very tasty. Even the rhizomes are edible. Usually when it comes to ginger and barley, when it comes to ginger and turmeric. But yeah, care has to be given because in some cases the rhizomes are not edible. So just do your research and ensure that the variety that you have is edible. So I am almost 90% sure that the leaves of the Javanese ginger are edible. Next, of course, is the banana. It's the plantain variety, meaning the banana itself is used for cooking. So when it is unripe, when it is green, you just peel the skin and then chop it up, and then you can stir fry or even steam it. You can use it like potato. So it's very, very delicious. So this is the plantain variety. Healthy looking plant, but it looks like it's going to take at least 2 years or even more to grow full size. And last but not the least, I have these 4 seedlings of native frangipani. So I had actually ordered a bigger plant, but they said that it is out of stock. So they gave me 4 plants instead. So native frangipani, it's known for the fragrance flowers. It does well in the temperate climate. It becomes a big tree. So if you want to grow it in containers, you will have to probably prune the roots once it becomes very big. So yeah, you don't have to worry about winter protection to this. I mean, at least once it establishes. So there you go, guys. These are all the plants, and this is Bali who knocked off my plants, and pretty excited. So what I'm going to show you guys now is just to ensure there is no transit shock, we should always dunk it in seaweed solution. So I'm just gonna take a sample and show you exactly how I do. Basically I take a bucket and then dunk it in. So this is the bucket that has the seaweed solution. So just wait until all the bubbles disappear. So it's water mixed with seaweed solution. So the bubbles have stopped. You can maybe keep it for a minute or two and get other plants and do the same. So this will relieve the stress to an extent. Yeah, there you go, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please do like and subscribe. Have a good one. See you.